Hey Band Network Remote Teaching Series.
Welcome to the Hey Band Network. We are in the remote teaching series, and today we have a great guest from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Frank Chapple. Welcome to the Hey Band Network.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Frank's at Keller High School, has been there for 16 years, been teaching up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 23 years. You've been at this business for a while. Obviously, everything's very different right now. So we kind of dig into a little bit
True.
what that is. But tell us a little bit about the program at Keller High School.
Okay, so we have, I am an assistant band director / percussion director. And so my job is to oversee 6th through 12th grade at all my schools, my feeder patterns, all that good stuff. So it's a very typical percussion director job. We're fortunate enough in the district to have every high school has one. So that's we're blessed with that kind of setup. I have an assistant who's not full-time, but he'll do lessons and teach with me. So it's a supplemented income with lessons and he's there basically every day with me. So we have about 55 at the high school. And so with that kind of size, it takes 2 people to manage and to kind of get everything done. So that's really fortunate. And he's a ex-student of mine, Christian Turnley, went up through the Cavaliers, started OU. So he's kind of going through, checks off all the boxes, which has been great. And then our head director is Mark McGahey. He's been there since, I want to say 94, but I could be wrong. He's been there a while and he's phenomenal. It's a joy to work with him. I think his strength is that he trusts and believes in his staff. And so because of that, we've been able to do what we do really well. And it's given us the freedom to be the instructors and the educators that we are. And then Ryan Heath is also an assistant band director. He oversees our brass program. And then Daniel Bloss is the other assistant, and he oversees our woodwind program. So we've been fortunate enough to have the brass woodwind percussion kind of caption head idea with the head band director. And so we've been together now for about 5 years or so as a staff. And it's amazing. I truly believe that you're going to teach where the people are that you get along with the best, because it'll wear on you pretty quick if you don't. So Mark and I have gotten along since day one, and every person we brought in has been on the same page. So it's been, I consider myself very lucky with that we have about 350-ish, I would say, kids in the program. I don't know the exact numbers right now. I don't really know much of anything right now because I'm so out of touch with what's going on. But I would say about 350. We got about 55 percussion, and then maybe 60 color guard is about where we're at right now.
That's cool. And some of the people watching may have seen the band on the Macy's Day Parade.
Yes, absolutely.
2018, I think.
Yep, amazing trip. If anyone gets to do that, it was better than I imagined. It was phenomenal.
That's great. Yeah. So, and the Keller High School band program has been great for years, many, many years. And so it's awesome to have you on here, kind of talk about that. And then the other thing that people might know you for right now is this book called The Packet that you've created. Tell us about The Packet.
So for me, I was one of those people that would use books, but also would supplement a lot. And so it was, I'm gonna make them buy a book because they have to have a book. I mean, that's what we do. And then I would just supplement. So I started living or teaching basically out of my backpack. And it got to the point where I was at all my schools with all my grade levels, and I had all these papers in my bag, and I would be pulling out, and, let's say I rewrote Flam exercise number 3 last night. So now it's like, who has the new Flam 3? And it's like, well, I have Flam 3 from last week. No, that's not the right Flam. And it just became the point where I realized, why am I doing this to myself? So I decided to back up, and it took me about a year to sit down and put all of my, what I believe is the fundamentals curriculum of percussion, into a tangible single source. And my idea was not to write a beginner book. It was not to rewrite, a timpani book or the best drum set book or the best 4-mallet book. My thought was, I'm going to write a fundamental based percussion curriculum that becomes the groundwork for everything else you're going to do. And so I thought that was an area that was missing, but it's also how my brain's wired, because I've grown up through drum corps and through the idea that the fundamentals never die. So I decided to lay that out. And so it's a 6th through 12th grade or beginner to graduation curriculum. It's completely basically organic to where it molds to the program, it molds to the teacher, it molds to the students. And so since it came out, the feedback has been extremely positive. It's kind of terrifying actually to put something like that out and make yourself vulnerable to the public, because my idea was it's going to make it out my door and then it's going to die with my kids. Like, that's the fear. And when I found out that it was actually picking up steam, it was really cool. And it's a very proud moment because it's kind of like your baby, because it literally took me a year, because I went back and, made every font is the same and I made everything in the book the same. And it's hard to stop. That was the other biggest problem. When you decide to write a curriculum, it's like, well, at some point you have to stop writing the curriculum. And that was a struggle for me, because I went, oh, I'll add one more thing. Oh, I need to add, and you keep wanting to add. So for me, now the next step was to take that curriculum and then start adding into little niches where I'm trying to fill in cracks for people. Like we have a 6th grade pad jam book that's chronological, that's to help you take your kids all the way through the year with fun solos to play. And then we have, a drumline warm-up book that's for the single teacher who has a bunch of kids, and you want all your kids to warm up together. But I've got all staters and brand new kids in the same drum line. So I differentiated a full drum line and then put it out there to where it takes the pressure off the teacher. And that's kind of been my goal ever since, is I want to help you not worry about teaching so you can just go teach. And then, and it's grown and it's picked up and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a resource I know a lot of people are using. There's talking about it, and I know you've been to make yourself available at conventions and have spoken about it, and just using the curriculum and creating a source for everybody that's different.
Yes.
Than what's available, and I think that's always important. We're not reinventing the wheel; we're just creating better parts for the bike.
Right.
So you say. So
absolutely,
and it's a great resource.
Thank you. And my plan was literally to take the stress and the time off the teacher, because like you said, reinventing the wheel, people asked me early on, well, why would you put your curriculum out there for people to see? And it's like, well, it's a paradiddle. Like all of you, we all teach paradiddles. I'm not like giving a secret. Like the secret is in the teacher. It's not in the material. Now my curriculum does not have a lot of words. That was important to me as well, because I didn't want to tell people how to teach. I wanted to give people a vehicle where they could just expand their own teaching by being creative. And so when you talk about conventions, a lot of times the conversations I have with people that start with the book end up being about just the art of teaching. And so I've been trying to create a network where people can share ideas and throw stuff at each other and say, yeah, that worked, that didn't work. And so that's been a lot of fun, to meet people and talk to people, not just about a book, but about the skill of the activity and the teaching.
That's great. And then I know you've recently, and this kind of leads us into our remote teaching stuff. I've noticed that you've dropped some YouTube videos on some information. So tell us a little bit about that people have access to.
Well, it's always been my plan to do an entire video library that complements the book. Because since it doesn't have a lot of words, people will ask me, hey, on this page, what were you thinking? Or how do you teach this? And I want to compare it to how I teach it. And so I've always wanted to present a video library that basically pulls a page out of the book, and then I show how I would approach the book or how I would approach the topic or that page. And so with the time we've had on our hands, I've been able to dig in and start this library. And so my goal is to either give percussion directors just one more way to look at it, or, and more importantly, I think, is to give non-percussion directors who are having to teach this stuff, the words and the route to take, or the timeline, or if you're going to look at this page, have them do this, like what's the sequence, and what am I looking for and how should it look, and like just helping those people. So when they get the book and they go to teach their class that day, they will have already watched the video, written down stuff, and now they can speak the language. And because for me, if I had to go teach a flute class, I wouldn't speak the language. I would speak a percussion point of view of making a flute player sound better. And so I'm trying to give them a chance, because for me, the percussion language is way different than a flute to a clarinet language. Like we tend to be off on our own world. And so that's another big thing I'm trying to do, is just add this resource to make people more comfortable and explain where my thought process is in the book.
Yeah, that's great. And it's useful and helpful for anyone, no matter your level, depending on what your needs are. I think that's awesome for people.
Well,
so
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And that kind of leads us, kind of what got us into today anyway, was to kind of talk about how you're dealing with this, knowing you have this great resource and you started the YouTube videos. So what are some things maybe you've done to help your students out through remote teaching over the last, I guess we're like month and a half, 2 months almost?
It's going, yeah. Our biggest thing has been, for me, I realized the teaching through Zoom doesn't have the payoff that I hoped it did, just because, as you know, being face-to-face with a student when you're teaching music is priceless. And there's so much that goes into it than just what you hear. And so I realized when we're doing Zoom that I get to see them, I get to watch them, we get to play, we get to talk, we get to be involved with each other, but I wasn't able to get in there as much as I wanted to. So then the idea was, well, how do we do that next thing? So a lot of the video stuff or me posting, excerpts or whatever I'm doing with the kids is I'm telling them, like, okay, it's a month before the drumline auditions. If you're working on your snare audition, go watch the traditional grip video, because that's everything I would have told you in person, but you can pause, rewind, take notes. So I wanted to give them an interactive teacher, because when we Zoom, it goes so fast that they don't get a chance, I feel like, to pause the teacher and go back and like digest and stop, wait a minute and whatever. So I'm trying to find multiple angles. And I think the video gives them a chance to do that, to pause, to stop, to play, to come back to it. Another thing I'm messing with, and a lot of my percussion friends do, is we'll take our music, we'll write soundtracks to them, and we'll have a sliding marker as the music goes by. And it just gives them something to practice to that's not just the metronome. And so it's making them feel like it's fun versus it's another task. And so that I've seen a lot of other people as well as myself doing that, which I think is a great resource as well. Just finding ways to motivate, because you can't be there to physically pull them in the room and work with them. So for me, it's been a lot of connecting face-to-face, but then supplementing other ways so they get a true deeper education. And that's kind of the tightrope I've been trying to figure out how to walk.
We're in a place where we've tried things and learning what works and what doesn't work. And so we're already modifying, sounds like what you're doing. So on those that maybe haven't created videos or just trying to dive into it, what's the software or program that you use for that?
Yeah, I've figured out that iMovie will do everything you need. I'm not making a motion picture. And so what I realized, or what I thought was, okay, how can I put myself in a place that's not distracting? So I'll even turn the camera. So I have like a black giant piece of felt that I got from, a fabric store. And then I just hang it over a frame. And then I found, actually I can even kind of do this. And then right here, sorry about that. So these are available through Sweetwater, even at Staples. These are home filming studio systems. And so this entire system holds the camera, has the backlighting, has the adjustable stand, has the speaker, the mic mount and all that good stuff. That cost me like $50. And so, and then of course, phones are incredible. And so I do have GoPros, but I found out that my phone and my MacBook have almost become all I need. I mean, because it's, it's incredible the technology we have in our hands. So I figured out I'm going to put myself in a situation that looks professional, that isn't distracting. And then from there, iMovie lets me edit everything I need to do. Now, if people are more like want to take the next step, then of course, Final Cut Pro is a phenomenal program. It's not one I use because I'm trying to do this without having to buy a bunch of new software because of the situation we're in. But also there's a lot of free resources like ScreenFlow is one that I use. And it's a great program for allowing you to record everything on your screen. But it's more than just recording the screen like a screenshot. It allows you to record video and add sound. And it's a little more, I guess, high tech, whatever the word is. So I've been doing the ScreenFlow and using that quite a bit. And then from there, recording even on straight to QuickTime Movie, which is like built into the computer for free. And so I've tried to use as much free as possible because it's easy and everyone can do it. And so our district provides us with most of these tools anyway.
That's cool. And there's a lot of things you just went through, the iMovie and QuickTime and all those different resources and options for that. And there's others out there.
Yeah, and if you're working off the phone, Perfect Video is, if you're just going to do everything on your phone, which I know some guys do that, Perfect Video is a free app that's phenomenal.
I know some on the computer use Screencastify.
Yep.
Does a screen capture type thing with little so, but it's not so much which one you use, it's which one you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Or the one you've learned,
right. That's yes, I've made more mistakes on iMovie than I've made good moves. So yes, I'm finally slowly figuring it out. And I'm one of those, it's like, okay, I'm not like, I'm good. Don't show me anything else. So, but yeah, when we have our online Zooms with other directors around the country or talking with friends, that's one thing we'll always do is someone will say, hey, have you seen this? And then it's like, okay, I need to go see what this is. And so there are other ones. I think Ed Puzzle was the name of it. I have to double check. Allows you to create videos, but then pause, and the kids have to answer questions before the video will keep going. So there's all kinds of, just reach out to people because they all know so much. And I realized a long time ago that I don't know as much as I would like. And so I'm always trying to find those people.
Oh, that's cool. So Ed Puzzle, awesome.
Yeah, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to contact you on that one.
Yeah, let me know. Because I know everybody's trying to find something else that's going to be easier, or if we need this again next fall, what's going to make it more user-friendly for the kid and allow us to maintain accountability.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, even when we go back to school, this won't stop for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we've found that digital, I guess, outlet that we've all talked about, but never quite had the time to go find. And so for me, this is now just another avenue that we're going to continue from now on. Because I think the kids, obviously they dig it because this is where they live. They live in this age. And so I want to make sure I'm finding them where they like to go anyway.
And they like doing things later than some of the times that we set things up too.
Yeah,
so it's user-friendly for them to do their work.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Other things that you've done or maybe come across while doing some remote teaching over the last month and so.
The biggest thing I found as an educator, and I said this earlier, but is reaching out and finding stuff from other educators. I mean, that's been, there's so much amazing stuff out there. And more importantly, there's so many amazing people that if you see something you like and reach out, 99% of the time they will say, hey, let's connect and I'll tell you everything I did. And so I have friends that have said, hey, I called so-and-so last week and 2 hours we sat on the computer and he showed me how to redo logic. And it's like people that have the skills and knowledge. I haven't found anyone who won't share that. And I think the days of keeping all your secrets because you're trying to beat everybody, I think for the most part, those days are over. I don't really see a lot of that mentality anymore. And so I try to take advantage of that and then also be one of those people that's helping anytime I can. And that's what I've discovered is just go look for it because it's there and people will share with you.
Yeah, and that's why we've started this, and it's amazing that people like yourself and so many others are like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then we
Yeah,
just put it
absolutely.
out for people to learn, and there's lots of resources, like you said, out there to pick up on this. And so, man, that's so true. Of especially now, we're all just trying to learn something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the older ones like us that definitely didn't grow up with this. We were on payphones, not
That's
cell
right.
phones. So, and then I don't mind leaving, email for people or whatever. And then, if they have questions or something pops up, hey, I'll either direct them to the right person or at least let them know what I know about it. So I would love to do that too.
Cool. You have any shout outs you want to give?
All the educators I've been talking to, and they know who they are, they've been just incredible. It's really cool to see, of all the industries in the world right now, I think educators have stepped up. And I think we stepped up because that's what we do. And so I'm thankful for all the people that have been doing that. And I'm excited to see it continue. A big shout out to my wife, Anna, because, I'm in this room or in my garage or, filming a video, and she's walking around the house now talking about flams and inverted taps and just like it's driving her crazy. But I appreciate with her being out there with the 4 kids and I'm stuck here trying to make another video. These things don't happen without the people that support you. And so she would be obviously my number one person.
Cool. Any last words of wisdom or advice or anything you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, use the packet. And but really, I at least would say go check it out, because there's so many great resources, and even if it's not mine, at least I think you need to take the time to see what is the best thing for you and your kids. A lot of us will stop at the first thing and not stop at the best thing. And so I would just say, be one of those people that realizes that there's more than just one thing out there, and don't be afraid of new things or pushing yourself as a teacher. Because for me, as I've gotten older, taking myself out of my comfort zone is actually more fun than trying to stay in my comfort zone. Because I feel like that's what's going to make me retire, is staying in my comfort zone. And so forcing myself out of my comfort zone is, to me, what keeps me young and keeps me moving. And so just go find new things, or at least see what's out there before you make your final decision. Because to be a salesman, I think you'll love it, because I'm very proud of it, and everyone that's worked with it has loved it. Plus, I'm here. I'm like one of the only people that I offer myself with my products. Like, I want to be a part of the process. And so just go try it.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Awesome. Well, Frank Chapple, much appreciated joining me on the Hey Band Network today. It's been great.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. It's good seeing you, like always.
Yeah, man.
And thanks for allowing me to get on here.
Yeah, and so anybody that checks this out, this video will be up on the Hey Band Network. And there's other videos for the remote teaching series and leadership series on the Hey Band Network YouTube channel. And you can also check that out on our Facebook page. So Frank Chapple, thank you very much for joining us. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you, sir.